A wind will rise against the land. It will test its wings and its two talons.
Let Zimrilim and the Simelite do the harvesting. Zimrilim, do not let the land in its entirety slip from your hand.
Hi, this is Ted, and today I'm going to be talking about ancient prophetess and how she revealed 3 secrets to making the perfect predictions in prophecy. She comes from a time 3,800 years ago, 18th century BC. Abraham maybe was traveling through the area during that time period. Whatever, Israel was not a nation yet and was just kind of a promise at best. The place is Mari. It's a city that is in the center of, well, kind of on the top of what is called the Fertile Crescent. It's 530 miles northeast of Jerusalem, and the Fertile Crescent was called the Fertile Crescent because we have this big river called the Euphrates, which is kind of like an image of a rainbow, if you will. And right in the center of that rainbow was Mari. The Fertile Crescent was a river that basically gave lush vegetation along its edges. And in between, from one end of the rainbow to the next end, you're going to see desert. So nobody wants to travel through deserts. They travel along the Euphrates, going from one, maybe Babylon, all the way to Egypt. The people involved. I'm going to talk about the prophetess Ubatum and the king, Mari, and his name is Zimrilim. And the words she said were found among 20,000 clay tablets from the time. The message she gave to the king gives us a window into the way prophecy led kings back in those days. And among the many prophecies on those tablets, I am focusing, by the way, not all 20,000 clay tablets had to do with prophecy, but I'm focusing on the one sentence from one of the several prophets, and I'm focusing on that one sentence that reveals 3 methods or secrets of making predictions that will never fail. All right, looking closely to this one sentence shows us really that so-called prophets of today and professional predictions have not advanced at all in 4,000 years. So here's what we got. And as you can see on this page, there are some things missing, which I will fill in as I believe it was meant to be filled in.
A wind will rise against the land. It will test its wings and its two talons.
One of the gods is speaking through the prophetess on this one. So he says, I will test. And they had several gods. Also, lands were often metaphorically compared to birds, such as eagles in Rome. Eagles are birds that flew and could strike with its powerful claws, which are talons. Following up on that, it says, let Zimrilim, that's the king, and the Simelite, that's a tribe under the king, let them do the harvesting. Harvesting is probably another metaphor, I'm guessing, because we've already dealt with a couple of metaphors, so I don't think we're talking about harvesting food, harvesting the fields, but rather it could be harvesting of the stuff that armies leave behind when they're slaughtered. But I have no context in this particular sentence, so I'm going to leave it with that. I find this interesting in a way because the king is really kind of a puppet to the prophet. The prophet is guiding the king, is giving him the direction to go, giving him what's going on. I find that fascinating. So really, even though the king's getting all the credit, it is really the prophetess who is giving him the direction to go. And finally, this says, Zimrilim, do not let the land in its entirety slip from your hand. The prophetess, she knew the secrets of making perfect predictions, as I mentioned, and they will not fail because there is kind of a way to make prophecies perfect. And this is how we do it. Number one, the first secret of a perfect prediction is to use metaphors.
A wind will rise against the land.
A wind will rise against the land. It could be enemies, it could be famine, it could be plagues, it could be sickness, any number of things. So when the time comes that some disaster comes, you can say, that was the prophecy. So how is it used today? I remember going through school in 1970s, Bible school down in Florida, Pentecostal Bible school. And because they're Pentecostals, they believe in prophecy. And they heard of a prophecy coming from South America. And this prophecy said that a wave would hit Florida. I was living in Florida. We were all living in Florida because we're going to a Bible school in Florida. And everybody's panicked because they're taking it all literally, that a wave is coming. And the brilliance of one professor, he brings to the campus and starts walking around the campus with a surfboard. And I loved it. Okay. A lot of students were very critical because they're very, very much taken up by this prophecy that a wave is coming and it's going to just destroy us all. One guy actually quit school and went back home. The wave never came. But here's the story. That prophecy is brilliant. Why? Because it's fulfilled no matter what. Because in the years to come, there was population growth. In the years to come, there was a wave of population growth. There was a wave of economic changes. There's a wave of Cuban migration in 1980. There's a wave of drug trafficking. There's a wave of hurricanes. So you use metaphors and it can go anywhere you want it to go. Your prophecy will always be fulfilled. So use metaphors. That's the first secret of a perfect prediction. All right, the second secret of perfect prediction is to use what is called the Barnum effect. I've talked about this several years ago in some of my videos, but let's look at it a little closely.
A wind will rise against the land. It will test its wings and its two talons.
The prophetess says, a wind will rise against the land. I will test its wings and its two talons. The wings are metaphors, again. And I will test is ambiguous and vague. How is God going to test? There's going to be something coming that's a little bit of a struggle. The Barnum effect, and Barnum coming from the circus. But the Barnum effect is reading something specific into a vague or a broad statement. If you ever go to a medium, a psychic, they're going to give you vague terminology, vague descriptions of things. Not only vague, but something very general. So you take this vague or general description and you apply it to yourself, you find something very specific and very self-centered. And that is exactly what's going on here. She says, I will test. It's kind of vague. There's going to be a struggle. It could be war. It could be any number of things. And when that time comes, we can look backwards and say, oh, that prophetess was spot on. Because that's how the Barnum effect works. In our present day, your psychic might say you're going through a struggle. Well, definitely it could be a work struggle. It could be a struggle at home. It could be a struggle of something that you want. That struggle is vague, but you're going to apply it to yourself in the particular situation you're going through. That's the Barnum effect. And it's powerful because the Barnum effect will almost always work and almost always be perfect predictions. And finally, the third secret of a perfect prediction is to place qualifications on those predictions.
Let Zimrilim and the Simelite do the harvesting. Zimri-Lim, do not let the land in its entirety slip from your hand.
This particular prophetess did say to Zimri, do not let the land in its entirety slip from your hand. She's giving him a qualification. She's putting it in his hands. The gods have declared this is going to happen. Now it's up to you to make it happen. In 2020, there were a lot of prophets in the charismatic movement. I mean, thousands of them, all predicting that President Trump would become the next president. This is actually 2019 when this all happened. He would become the next president. And one after another said the same thing. There didn't seem to be anybody saying, no, Biden is going to be the next president. And when President lost, there was a cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance is, I believe one thing with all my heart and all my soul. It belongs to my identity. It's so strong that Trump is going to win. But reality is in your face saying he didn't win. How do we deal with that cognitive dissonance? How do we deal with that struggle? And the way, of course, the very first things that came out were stuff like we didn't pray enough. There's the qualifications. So if I make a prediction and I say, I'm in 2019 and I really believe that President Trump will become the next president in 2020, I need to say, President Trump will be the next president if you pray hard enough. If you, with all your heart, seek the Lord, something like that, because now when it fails, you are to blame. All right, so put all the blame of failed prophecy on other people. That's so important. And that's precisely what this woman is doing. It's up to you. She's telling the king, it's up to you to hold on to this prophecy. So those are the three methods to basically ensure predictions will never fail. So number one, use metaphors. Number two, use the Barnum effect. And finally, number three, somehow put it in the hands of the person getting the prediction that it's up to them for fulfillment. And if it fails, it's their fault. Now, after looking at this one sentence for the last few days, I realized that despite all the ambiguity and despite all the metaphoric language, it served the king in a big way. He didn't know what really was going to hit the land, but it sounds big. It sounds important. And this will put him on the lookout, this one prophecy. And it tells him to stay alert. Be prepared for whatever is coming your way, because something big is coming. And did that do him any damage? No. It probably helped him to be on the alert. He might think, my army isn't strong enough. I better get going and make it stronger. He might think, we have a famine coming, perhaps, so I better make sure that we have food prepared. All these kinds of ways he could be preparing for a disaster. And thus, when any disaster does come, which it will, because disasters come one after another throughout history, he will be better prepared for whatever hits him. So despite the fact that this prophetess gives him information that really is very vague, the fact of the matter is it could really have helped him a lot to be a better king. This is Ted. You all have a good day.